आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। एक नई दुनिया की आवाज आपकी आवाज, विज्ञान की आवाज, की आवाज।
Celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we bring you a podcast series on STEM popularization, science, technology, engineering, mathematics and medicine, supported and catalyzed by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, Government of India. This program is produced by Media for Community Foundation. Creative content and technical support is given by Purvasha Banerjee and Shushanto Das.
एक नई दुनिया की आवाज आपकी आवाज, विज्ञान की आवाज, की आवाज, की आवाज।
We are happy to receive a lecture from Dr. Pramod Kumar Shukla in this podcast. He will now be introducing himself and will be sharing his academic journey first.
My name is Pramod Kumar Shukla and I'm working as an assistant professor in the Department of Physical Sciences at Bose Institute. And my academic expedition goes as follows. Like I did my PhD from University of Allahabad and then Masters and PhD from IIT Roorkee. And then I did some postdocs for around a decade. For example, in Max Planck Institute for Physics in Munich, I was on an Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship. Then I was in University of Turin and INF Turin. Then ICTP, International Center for Theoretical Physics. So it is in Trieste, is a UNESCO body. So I was there as well, and IFT Madrid. So after that, I joined University of Allahabad as an assistant professor for some months in 2022, and from December 2022 I'm here in Bose Institute. So it's been like 2-year journey for me so far, and that's so fantastic being here.
Dr. Shukla now shares a brief introduction to his research work.
So the area of my research is theoretical high energy physics, in particular string theory. It's a very interesting topic. I'll be explaining a bit more on it. So it actually kind of starts with understanding some deeper questions like fundamental aspects of, say, origin of the universe and other aspects. So some fundamental in research areas which are part of this. So the basic idea is kind of seeking a unified framework to understand the real world. So in that sense, I would say on personal ground, my main focus area is to do some kind of string model building, which is actually some attempts to make some realistic model building using some string theoretic setup. So I'll briefly say what these things are a bit maybe in the coming minutes. So the idea is that it has a very multidisciplinary nature in the sense of it lies at the interface of pure maths and physics. So it's a very fascinating subject, and I like it a lot. That's why I want to have taken this as a career.
Dr. Pramod Kumar Shukla now explains in details.
Let me make some kind of background in the sense that as a human we always have this kind of curiosity to kind of look around the nature and then postulate something, hypothesize, test, and the test fails again. That's how scientific temperament goes. So you hypothesize and make some postulate, test it, and fail again. Hypothesize. So the main kind of underlying thing is that to use as less kind of rule as possible to explain as many physical phenomena as possible. So that's kind of a inherent tendency in, say, a scientist or physicist. And this actually idea is to kind of postulate something to find some principles governing the real world. So principles in our culture we call it siddhantas. The literal translation goes with siddhanta. So then some formulation is needed for which you need some maths. So maths is used like some kind of tools, you can say, some instrument. Different branches of pure maths can be used as some instruments or tools to understand some kind of laws of physics. So the main point towards us humans is that we always try to see the elements, and the word elements is a very kind of very broader thing in the sense that it evolves with time. So whatever we find it maybe elementary may not be elementary at the later generation, for example. So in that sense all the phenomena which we try to understand in nature, we postulate by certain things and test it. So that's where the things go. So in that sense we have like two very fascinating, extremely well working frameworks for understanding the physical world, I would say. And these two frameworks are standard model, or you can say quantum mechanics or quantum field theory. These are some, you can say there are some different names for similar things. And then this actually, the standard model deals with the short distance physics. So the main idea is to kind of, for example, if you are having very short distance, some phenomena in which very short distance physics is involved, then quantum mechanics is very much relevant. And then there is general relativity, which actually deals with the massive objects. So the question is, if you are kind of having some system in which short distance as well as massive nature both are important, which kind of theories would you use? And in that sense, you have to kind of unify these two things in a single framework. So my main work actually goes on to kind of while working in string theory, is the main goal is to kind of unify the fundamental interactions in physics in a single framework. And we have four fundamental interactions in physics, like electromagnetism, we all know, electricity and magnetic nature of things, light. And then there is a gravity, we all feel, and then strong interactions are there and weak interactions are there, which are, for example, in beta decay or something. So the question is, can you kind of unify all these things in a single framework? And this idea of unification is an ultimate desire, actually. So it actually goes with the tendency towards kind of some completion or perfection or say unification. So it's not only limited to physics. In philosophical sense, you can say also the ultimate desire is in the sense of say yogic sense. So you kind of you make the unison of things, you make multiple things going in one direction and meeting somewhere to so like the philosophy says that ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti, the truth is one, but it can be manifested in multiple forms. So in that sense, so unification is a very kind of fascinating idea, that how all these four fundamental forces would have been coming from a single entity. And string theory is actually one kind of a proposal, which is still theory in making for multiple decades, I would say. That's what even critics say, that it has been too long that it is theory in making. But it is a very fascinating framework which actually promises to unify all these fundamental interactions in a single framework. So, and the idea is very simple. Like, so 100 years before, Kaluza and Klein, two gentlemen from Germany, they at that time only electromagnetism and gravity was known. So they tried to kind of unify these by going one dimension up. So they proposed, theoretically kind of gave this very ambitious idea of kind of multiplying of unifying this gravity as well as electromagnetism by going one dimension up. So in the similar sense, string theory, the mathematical consistency actually demands that string theory is a 10-dimensional theory. So the main idea of string theory is that all the particles are formed by some vibrations of some strings. So some string is vibrating, and that's how you realize particles. So the idea is very simple, but when you go deeper into it, there are many mathematical consistency checks when you try to explain multiple things, and it turns out that the space-time dimension has to be 10. So we have 9 space dimension and 1 time dimension. So far in the real world, we only see that we are living in 3-dimensional space and 1 time is there. So, but this is kind of a bit different in the sense that this is a theory of extra dimension. So then the question is how you connect something which is 10-dimensional to a 4-dimensional real world which we observe. And my main research focus is actually to find some 6-dimensional manifolds which are in between. These are some mathematical objects which are real 6-dimensional. So then they are like some hidden sector. So you kind of bring down your 10-dimensional theory to some 4-dimension, where that 6-dimensional manifold is sitting somewhere in between. But the idea is that there are many of them. There are billions of these possible 6-dimensional manifolds, and the most suitable ones are known as Calabi-Yau manifold by the name of two gentlemen, Calabi and Yau. And so my kind of, and even this is actually huge in number. There's a whole landscape of these Calabi-Yau manifolds. So my job, my interest is actually how to find the right Calabi-Yau to bring down the theory, which is 10-dimensional theory, to the 4D world, which connects with certain things which we can, for example, connect with the cosmology observations and say, for example, particle physics things. So that is kind of very broader idea, and in between you have, you have to use maths, various aspects of pure maths as some kind of a instrument, some kind of tool. So in that sense, it's very fascinating. So yes.
Dr. Shukla now tells about his collaborators.
Yeah, fortunately, I have a whole series of fascinating world leading collaborators, because I have been, this to Max Planck Institute of Physics. Professor Dieter Lewist was there, who is world leader in string model building, and I was in ICTP, where ICTP director Professor Fernando Quevedo was there. So I was working in his group. So in the sense of collaboration, I have been fortunate to find these groups where these things have been going. So it's a very 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 great thing. So, and in Indian context also, for our community, for string theory community, is quite good. It's a fairly placed in the international arena. So like we have very big persons in the field, I would say, like Professor Ashok Sen from ICTS. He just shifted to ICTS from HRI recently. So we are a very small community. Internationally, we are very small community, but very well connected. We can, for example, I can name each and every individual from India, from like most of the almost all the IITs have one or two, except IIT Kanpur, which has many string theorists. ICTS has the biggest group, ICTS Bangalore. Otherwise, in Kolkata also, now we are having like five or six string theorists. So we are trying to make some regular kind of meeting, if possible, scattered around different institutes like SN Bose and myself here in Bose Institute and SINP. So our community is strong. It's very strong, I would say, in what it does, and is fairly represented at international level.
Hope this strong bond between the co-thinkers will come up with new siddhantas, which will contribute much to the world of scientific innovations and explanations. We are really thankful to Dr. Pramod Kumar Shukla for sharing his valuable thoughts and theories with the listeners. Thank you so much.